I've been doing Scan FYI for going into my sixth year now. I've interviewed a lot of people. It's been fabulous. But the number one question that people have asked me over the years, number one, what kind of lights do you use? How do you do that? Well, today I'm going to finally answer that question because I have the perfect guest to talk all about that. So if you want to know more about how to make yourself look better on camera, stay tuned. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Scan FYI. My guest today is Cory Engelhardt. He is from Quantum Creations. Good morning, Cory.
Good morning.
This is a conversation, Cory, I've wanted to have for a long time. But before we get into it, why don't you just explain to everyone, introduce yourself, and tell everyone what is Quantum Creations?
Absolutely, Andrea. So, Quantum Creations is a video company, and we focus primarily on developing video campaigns for our clients. So, what we do is we work with them to get really clear on their brand mission, their story, their strategy, and then we use video as a means to help them grow their business. So, that's employing video content on their website through paid advertising campaigns and organically across their channels on social media nowadays. And we're working with a lot of people to interview them. We've been doing commercial type campaigns with actors and actresses, highlighting products and services that way, and then also just like highlighting the employees and the specifics services of the companies as they offer and distributing that across a bunch of different platforms for them.
Okay, so obviously Corey is the perfect person to talk about lighting and being on camera because that's what he does. And you know what, Corey? Everyone's an actor these days. I'm telling you, everyone's an actor. Or you kind of have to be, whether you're taking pictures with your phone, with a camera, or we're on a Zoom call right now. We're recording a Zoom call. Everyone is. It's a performance, right? Everyone.
It's absolutely a performance. And I started doing the videos because I love being on camera myself. And I started it because I love making ski videos with my friends and surf videos. And I was doing the morning announcements in high school. So I'd be the one reading all the daily announcements and good morning, Brick Township High School, because that was where I went to high school, on the screen. So it's all performative, and it's like now we live in this day and age where you open up your telephone and scroll on social media and there's videos in your face all hours of the day.
Yeah, really, 24/7. But I think well, as I said, the most common question people have been asking me over the years was about my lighting. And so I'm going to share that today, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about lighting and, why it's actually important. This is my home office. I've been in the same place for a long time. I have three lights. And look, I'm a longtime photographer, so lighting is a big deal to me, even doing a Zoom call. So it was important to me because I think lighting can make a really big difference. I have a just off camera, like at a 45-degree angle, I have a light here. I have a key light over here. And believe it or not, just the luck of the draw, Corey, the ceiling light hits me right here. That's
Mm.
just lucky. That's just lucky. Otherwise, I would have set something up for, that hair
You got a,
situation.
you got a good natural hair light.
Right. I'm just lucky. I'm just lucky. But I just want to show everyone I'm not doing anything all that mysterious. This is just a pretty basic tripod with a little light. This is by Ray Leno, and I have a bigger one over there and this smaller one over here. And you can buy this entire two of these. I saw them on Amazon. They're wait 50, 60, $70, right? That's kind of all it is. And the other thing that I'm doing, they're like at 45-degree angles, so nothing is like right in my face. Especially right when you're wearing glasses, Corey, you get that awful glare.
Hmm.
And I hate that. The other thing that I did on this light over here, which is it's bouncing off a white card. I have a 2 foot by 3 foot piece of whiteboard.
Hmm.
So I think it's making a soft light. But I want to show everyone what happens when I turn this light off. Big difference, right?
Big difference. Big
Big
difference.
difference. Now you could, you might be okay having it like this, just having the one light. Maybe that's a little more moody, but when you turn the light on and then the camera on the laptop adjusts, I think it looks a lot better.
I
So
agree.
that's it.
I
Mystery solved.
it's pretty, it's not rocket science to be able to command light and get a good video on your Zoom. And I think it's less about what people are doing on the Zoom calls, more about what they're not doing. It's like a lot of people don't even think about, hey, how do I look good on the Zoom call? Obviously you're going on a podcast and like this, like you want it to be presentable, but but also you have meetings with your boss and your team or sales calls or partnerships, right? And these are all opportunities for you to look and present your best, right? So there's a couple things that I would recommend that everybody does and understands when they're doing a video on Zoom or their phone or
Hmm.
anything. So like first thing is like framing yourself effectively, right? You don't want you don't want your head down here with all the headroom. You don't
That's
want it
right.
cut off
That's
at your
right.
mouth. What you want to do is they call it the rule of thirds, right? So you have the top third, the middle third, and the bottom third of the frame, and then you have the right third, the middle third, and the left third. So what you want to do is you want to get your eyes on that top third and frame yourself effectively. And also, you look much better when you just sit up straight and you have good posture. You don't want to be
Yeah, we
laying
don't want to
down in
be
bed,
slouchy.
right?
Right,
Or
right.
up front in camera like this. Um, so like posture, framing, your background too. I know you were just talking about light, Andrea, but having a nice background,
Yes.
putting a light in the background. I have a little lamp right there and it just lights up the wall a tad bit. You do the same thing. You have some nice colors in the background. I see a lot of people take Zoom calls up on a wall, right? They have they sit up against the wall with the background. It's just not really any depth on it or visually interesting. So those are just a couple of tips for like making the environment look friendly, inviting. Obviously, this room is not the best. It's not set up officially as my office. Like I'd like to set everything up, but then also to just get this light like I have. I'm not using any artificial lighting. I'm using only the window light, and I have the curtain or the shade from the window here slightly diffusing the light because if you sit out in the direct sunlight, you're going to be
Right.
super, super bright. Um, but you could see the difference if I
Yeah,
closed the window off.
the shadows, the shadows. Yeah.
Exactly. The shadows are way too intense. So I keep it nice and diffused like that. And I also keep some artificial lights just in case, like you have as well. But ultimately, that's really what I'm thinking about when I'm getting on camera, because especially as a video professional, like I don't want to show up on a Zoom call not looking like I know what I'm doing with video, and I don't have I have the capacity to set up a camera and wire it into my computer, which I don't really do right now, but yeah, I want to show up for my clients and the people I'm talking to, and so they know I know what I'm doing, and that comes across the second I hop on the screen.
And just to remind everyone, I will have all of Corey's information in the show notes. And Corey has a video on his website, and it's under resources, if I'm remembering correctly, and it's called How to Look Confident on Camera. I'm going to link directly to that because that's on YouTube. And I just thought that that was really a beautifully done video. And why don't you just talk about some of those key points that you mentioned? How do you look confident on camera? First of all, look at the camera. Look at the
Hmm.
camera. Don't look up. Don't look down. Look at the camera.
Yeah.
The camera's your audience.
Camera's your audience. And I think one of the main points that I made in that video is like talk to the camera like you're talking to a friend. A lot of people, especially when they're not talking to a friend, like in this case, Andrea, like we're friends, so we're able to have this conversation one on one. But a lot of times, you're probably creating videos, and I'm sure a lot of the people listening, they might be talking to their phone alone in their room or
Yeah.
walking down the street, right? So it's like we have to understand that there are people listening, and many of them are our friends, and talk to the camera one on one, right? And that comes across when we're confident, when we show up and we enunciate the words that we're speaking, when we think clearly and concisely about what we're going to say. And a lot of people jump into their point. They get asked the question, or they take out their phone, they start filming a video, and they want to get it all out in one take. And the one thing I say is just like take a deep breath beforehand. Like you ask me a question, let me take a deep breath first and then respond, right? Because that
Pause.
space,
Pause before
exactly.
you respond. Yeah.
Exactly. And that space in an interview, or even just like when you have an idea for a video, some people are like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me film it right now. And it ends up being choppy or haphazard. It doesn't come full circle. So, like, just having that space to plan effectively or to think effectively before you respond is like super important. Um, and just being able to like slow down your words too. I find myself being a victim of this one because I get
Yeah.
excited on camera when I'm you get into a state. I like to call it flow state when you're
Yeah.
having these conversations and you get excited and you make a point and then whoa, there's another point right here and you start bouncing around. But sometimes just slowing it down and speaking at 80% of the speed that you'd like to is easier for other people to understand. Which is one of the ones that I have to remind myself quite often.
That's a tough one for a lot of people when they're really into the question. I'll ask a question, and you know what? I want to say I can't listen as fast as you're speaking. You got to
Mhm.
slow down. So not only me, but other people are going to listen later. And if I can't understand you, maybe they won't either. So slowing down is a big deal, a very big deal, slowing down. And you know being I guess you have to learn to kind of relax your face and look happy, smile a little bit. Not that you have to have a giant smile, but you want to just be conscious of you're on camera, right? I don't know, what do you tell people when they've never done anything before with being filmed, and how do you get them to relax if this is so new for them?
Well, it's enthusiasm. When you're talking with people on camera, or when I'm on camera, I want my enthusiasm to shine through because enthusiasm is contagious. If I can be passionate about the thing that I'm talking about and come across enthusiastically, it's going to rub off on you much more. But if I sat here, I'm on scan FYI right now, and here's how you put lights on the camera. Like it's not engaging. So being able to get your hands in the frame and smile and emphasize your points and enunciate different words, it comes back to how you started it, is it's performative in the way that we show up every day. I mean, every day our conversations that we have, whether we're on camera or not, like it's all a performance. It's how we show up in the world, how we present ourselves and express ourselves. So I do a lot of work with people being on camera. They're on camera for maybe the first time or one of the very few times. And it's scary when I come in and I've got all these overhead lights and big cameras I'm setting up in front
Yeah.
of them. So I pride myself on doing a really good job on making people feel comfortable and briefing people before they sit down. Um, Giving people just a run through of like this is how this is used and this is where it's going to go. This is the goal of what we're doing. And you did a good job of briefing me before the podcast started, giving people that the necessary information for them to feel at ease, especially when you're the one commanding.
So you
Um,
know what you have to, your guest has to know what to expect. Like
mhm,
your customer has to know what's going to happen to me. What are we doing?
100%. And and the individuals when they get on camera, honestly, it's just like listening. Like if you're the one interviewing, it's just about listening, being attentive and making eye contact. And I found a lot of people, and I've seen interviews go on where the interviewer is kind of trailing. They ask a question, they trail off in thought, or they
Yeah.
start writing down in their notebook. And it's the time when you have somebody sitting in front of you, you want to give that person your undivided attention, especially in a setting where that's going to be shared for an audience to view.
Yeah, sometimes I see that too when people are writing things down. For all I know, they're writing what they're having for lunch in 2 hours. But
Yeah.
um, I think, it's not rocket science, as you said before, but there is a little bit of science to getting some lights going on. I like that you said you're by the window, but you diffuse it with the curtain, like a sheer curtain.
Mhm.
That's, yeah, these are little things, and I think they make a difference. And if you know you're going to be on camera for whether it's with me or with Corey or even just doing something yourself, I like to tell people to go and practice. Go in the room or the place where you're going to do it, set it up and do a practice and look at it and critique it for yourself because, you're seeing what everybody else is going to be seeing. Are you satisfied with it? If not, make the correction before the real thing. It's a dress rehearsal, right?
That's all it is. Like, it's not gonna be perfect the first time, but there's a couple little checkpoints that I keep in mind whenever I'm framing up myself in a call or I'm framing up for a client on a shoot or I'm filming an iPhone video, and it's the same checkpoints that I go through anytime that I'm clicking record or I'm taking a photo. I'm looking at where the light's coming from. I'm saying, is it too harsh? Is there not enough? I'm looking at the framing. I'm saying, hey, is this easy to look at? Are my eyes on the right line? I'm saying,
Yeah.
what's in the background? Let me make sure there's nothing weird in the back. Let me make sure that there's nothing that's not supposed to be in the background, right? Let me look and make sure that it looks visually pleasing. Is there an extra light source or something that contributes to the vibe? We gotta obviously can't see. You got a piece of coral back there and a painting on the wall. It's like, hey, how do these things contribute to the shots that we're getting? Whether we're doing it on a computer on a Zoom call or whether I'm doing it on an iPhone video and I'm filming a video to put out to my audience on Instagram.
It's I think it feels good if you know you're looking good on camera, you sound good on camera. Obviously, I'm using a microphone. For me it makes a difference in this room. But Corey, you were saying, oh, excuse me, allergy season here. You were saying you're not using a microphone, but you do sound very good. But there's even tricks to that. You wouldn't be standing 20 feet away.
No, I mean, it gets much more, I have to project much more. I try and 18 inches to 2 feet away from the computer, speaking directly to it confidently and clearly, a little bit louder than you would normally maybe speak. Uh, if you were having a conversation with somebody at that same distance, you want to project yourself confidently, right? And then also this room, it helps when there's a carpet and a bed or a couch or
Right.
something to diffuse that noise because if I was standing in my kitchen maybe or if I was sitting in a bathroom, that there would be quite an echo and
Definitely.
it wouldn't be so clear and concise.
Definitely. I'm glad you also mentioned about the background because I do think that a lot of people are, they're looking right at the camera, but they're forgetting that there's a whole thing going on behind you. And we've had, people walking by. We've had all sorts of distractions, and the thing is that people will come on screen and they'll say to me, "How do I look? Do I look okay?" But here's the thing, Corey, they're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. You see, so if you've got some, bare light bulb hanging down and it looks like you're being interrogated, that's not a good look. But remember, whatever you see on your screen, that's what I see, and that's what you're presenting to the world. So maybe the time to do this is if you know you're going to have something going on, do a little advanced planning, as we said. And I do like the idea of recording yourself in advance, doing a dress rehearsal, checking out the whole situation of how it looks. Very easy.
It's really easy. And it's
Yeah.
like we said in the beginning, not rocket science. It's really simple. If people spend an hour, 2 hours learning how to set themselves up on a camera one time in their entire life, watch a couple of YouTube videos. I have some
Yeah.
videos, as we mentioned, that I've created about how to light yourself properly and show up confidently on camera. An hour, you'll never struggle ever again if you learn it once to
I
be
agree
able
with
to
you.
show up on camera.
I
It's
totally. Yeah.
It's something that we do every day. It's something that's incredibly valuable if you know how to do if you know how to show up on camera. I keep picking up my phone. I use my phone a lot to speak to and share video content with my audience for both my personal brand and my business, and to just have a basic understanding of, hey, this is how I frame myself up, and this is how I where I should film, the time of day, maybe the how to get the right light, what to put in the background, how do I make this look right. It goes a really long way, and it makes you sound much more authoritative when you can show up on camera the right way, and it gives the people that are viewing it a much easier experience.
And let me say this, when things are not looking great on screen, I personally find it very distracting to look at my guest who is in a very distracting situation, and I feel like you're not really focusing on what they're saying. You're almost focusing on, gee, why didn't they turn a light on, or what's going on back there? So, yeah, you gotta take an hour out of your life, especially if you're someone who's doing a lot of these calls or making video content for social media. Spend an hour. Corey has a lot of great resources on his website. And again, I'm going to link to all of that so you'll be able to check it out for yourself. Corey, thank you. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Andrea. This was so much fun. I'm always happy to share a little bit of expertise of the bit of knowledge that I have on the topic. Yeah, I love videos. That's my slogan for my company. I love videos. So it's always fun for me to talk about this, and hopefully get some more people doing what I love to do.
And the thing is, you love videos, but you make them look good. That's important. You want to make them look good. And guys, you can make your videos look way better, way better. Not hard. All right. Well, remember out there, if it's important to you, it's important to us. I'm Andrea Tarr. We'll see you next time on Scan FYI. Bye, everyone, and bye, Corey.
Thank you.